Welcome, Prime Roasters, to episode 32. Big news week, Chris. We got a lot to get into, including our two favorite parents fighting, Elon Musk and Donald Trump. I don't know what that's about. I was just thinking earlier that this all could be just kabuki theater. We all know that Elon Musk and his companies have lost a lot of gains since he became politically active. Tesla down 71%, according to ABC News. And, that's got to hurt. Maybe, do you think, Chris, that maybe Daddy Trump is just helping this man out by distancing himself from all this so that, people don't burn Teslas or, I don't know, stop buying them? Maybe it's all of it is just a big political theater. What do you think?
I agree with you on this one. There are a couple of reasons for this. The lefties were out going nuts on Teslas, the dealerships, and everything else that were getting destroyed. People were afraid to drive them. Liberals, lefties were shunning them. The sales went down, as you know. However, Musk did his job. I do believe Musk has and expressed legitimate gripes about the big beautiful bill, and I don't like calling anything by its marketing name, but that's what it is right now. It's an omnibus spending bill, and the problem is all those things are never read completely by Congress members. They're complicated and they're usually full of pork. Musk is right. There are a lot of positives to the bill, as Trump was saying, and that's right as well. What I see is Musk had his gripes. He said, "Look, you got to take care of these Doge cuts. You got to codify them." I don't see any of that in here. Trump says, "Well, this is a start. We have a lot of gains here that we need." And then they saw the media jump on this. They pounced and said, "Oh, they're fighting. It's a big cat fight. It's a war. Oh, Musk and Trump." I'm guessing, and I'm with you. I'm hypothesizing that Trump took Elon aside and said, "Look, here's an idea. Why don't you and I just keep this going? Let's keep fighting. It distances you from me, keeps your dealership intact, and maybe people will come back and say, 'All right, well, Orange
Yeah.
Man bad, Tesla man good.' Then everything will be okay afterward, and we'll just maybe not kiss and make up, but pretend to have a civil alliance afterward." Having said that, you saw those social media. Some of these lefties were saying, "All right, yeah, you finally realize. All right, yeah, you're right, Musk. Yeah, get that Trump,"
That was
because
the
it's
effect.
right. It's always about Orange Man bad. My rant's over.
No, it was a good rant. I'm sorry to cut you off. No,
That's what
look,
Elena Bobbitt said.
these are
I
the
don't think Elena
two.
Bobbitt said she was sorry, but that's another story.
These are the two most powerful men in the world. They're having what looks like a middle school spat for everyone to see. But again, they're also two very, very smart men. They're not just doing this because they're egomaniacs. They're doing this because they want the audience, right? I mean, no one does it without the audience. They're so media savvy, guys. They're friends. And right now, Musk has a problem with his shareholders. Hmm.
Oh, yes. They can pull a Steve was it, they do it to Steve Jobs, right? From Apple, they kicked him out, brought him back a little bit later.
Yep.
Uh, a lot of these CEOs get in trouble if they're too powerful, then the shareholders take a little bit too many of the shares, and they can boot out the longtime founder and CEO. That's never great.
Yeah.
But, I do believe that Trump and Musk are engineering all this to, A, troll the liberals because it's fun, and B, keep Musk's business interests intact.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. I think the fight, you know what? We can call it a public divorce, but ultimately, what does this lead to? Oh, the big, beautiful bill, because I think that's what has to happen, right? Maybe Musk has, certain interests there, and certainly his investor friends may have interests or in that bill. There's a lot of intertwining, and I don't know if they can just divorce, and I don't think that's really what's happening here anyway. But do you think this bill is going to pass by July 4th?
I believe it will be tweaked, possibly passed on July 4th. Yes,
Okay, good.
possibly. But they're gonna go through some changes. I believe they're to get some people, and this includes senators, over the edge to say, "All right, let's go with the cuts." That's fine, and they'll be okay with that. The idea is the big beautiful bill, and again, I just don't like calling it that, but for lack of a better term at this point, or let's just call it the omnibus spending bill. These things are meant to be extremely long, and they're meant to have little things in them that a lot of people aren't going to like. And this is where we are here. And I do agree with Massey to an extent. I do agree with Bannon to an extent. You want to hear what Bannon had to say about this bill?
Oh boy.
Steve Bannon had to say a lot about the bill. And I do also agree that it's a net positive. I'm not saying that this bill is all bad. I just say that adding $2.5 trillion to the debt is not exactly why we elected Donald Trump.
There are no Doge cuts. Let me repeat this. And this is not USAID. Those are programmatic things. I'm talking about waste fraud. Where's the fraud in Medicaid? Where is it? They haven't showed up with any. Has anybody been turned over to DOJ for fraud? The problem with Musk, and I said this from the beginning, he gave false hope to this political class who doesn't want to cut anything.
Bannon is right in a lot of ways, but keep in mind, this is still the first spending bill since Trump took office again. We also have to remember maybe the cuts or all these cuts are going to take an extra 2 or 3 years. I do like the no tax on tips. I do like the cuts for tax cuts for seniors. These are all good things, but maybe a little bit, like he said, a little bit of hurt in the first year or so, and everybody could be much happier with the next 2 or 3 spending bills. At least we hope that's the case. We just don't want to give government more license to keep spending, and that's the other issue with this bill.
Yeah, remember, Elon Musk just spent the last few weeks sleeping on the floor of a federal building looking for waste, fraud, and abuse. He built a team looking for this stuff so that American taxpayers never had to deal with this issue again. And guess what? Donald Trump's doing it again. So he's questioning Donald Trump, saying, "Are you part of the swamp? Is this what this is about?" And I think, I don't think we can be Elon Musk's absolutists here because we are, we got one little toe in Washington. We're not complete Washington outsiders. So we understand in order to get all these senators and all these congressional members reelected, they need to give something back to their communities. And that's what these spending bills are also about. So, I see why Trump is saying, well, I can't really discuss it publicly, but we got to give to rural hospitals and we have to give to this cause and that cause. And yeah, maybe you don't like it. And I don't want to go line by line and every line item and explain it to you. But we got to do certain things. You got to grease some palms here and there just to make sure that we have the majority. Elon Musk is like, nope, I want it my way. So, clearly he's not going to win this fight, but he should walk away with, the government contracts that he already got. He should be happy with that. And he should be doing great things in the private sectors that way. So I do hope that they kiss and make up, but I think that PR wise may not be a good look for Elon Musk, who's trying to gain back his audience and his investors and people buying his products who are not, MAGA Trump people.
They're probably sitting back in a room, just relaxing somewhere in a Trump hotel room or it's at the Trump Tower or the White House, wherever they're doing, maybe watching a little Big Bang Theory and talking about the similarities between Sheldon and Elon. But they're also saying, "Hey, this is great. Watch the news." They're enjoying watching these CNN pundits talking about, "Oh, look at Musk and Trump," and MSNBC going, "Yeah, there's a big rift between them." They're enjoying, they're laughing, and I would say they're drinking champagne. But you do know that Donald Trump is a teetotaler and he does not drink.
He doesn't drink.
That was actually said to me by a former. I was producing a show for a business show back then. And the former owner of Club 54, not the first one, the more recent one. He said Donald Trump hung out there, never drank.
You know why he doesn't drink? His brother, I think Frank, was a raging alcoholic. And I think lost his life in partly due to alcoholism. So he doesn't touch that stuff. And you know what? Lately, I haven't been touching that stuff lately. I've been feeling really good. I kind of went, wow, why did I do this all my 20s and 30s? It's like, wow, you could actually wake up at 5 a.m. and be productive. This is crazy.
I have a horrible segue now because normally I would say, speaking of raging alcoholics, Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi did something today, but I can't say that now. I am saying, speaking
you can say it.
Well, no, because I'm going to go to this story. Did you know Karine Jean-Pierre has, speaking of theater, said she's leaving the Democrat Party? Why, you ask? Well, look no further than the fact that she's selling a book. Let's hear from her.
Hi, I'm Karine Jean-Pierre, and I am the author of a new book that's coming out this fall called Independent.
Right. Independent. Her? Ha.
It's coming out on October 21st, so please do grab it. And the reason I wrote this book, coming out of the White House, serving as White House press secretary was an honor and a privilege. But since I have left, the people that come up to me, strangers that come up to me just across the country as I'm traveling, and sometimes right in my neighborhood, at a grocery store, supermarket, airport, my daughter's school, the number one question they ask me is, Karine, how do we get out of this? How do we protect our democracy? How do we protect vulnerable communities among?
We just did that. We protected our democracy by saying, you guys, get out.
Yeah, and I bet she didn't want Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson to have all the fun and book sales, so she had to get ahead of that. Also, I think she had to pivot because now you have all these congressional investigations looking into the auto pen presidency. And guess who was the face of the auto pen presidency, right? She was one up there in the press room every single day telling us Joe Biden's fine. He's active. He's robust. He is ready to serve this country. I mean, we got 4 years of perhaps a shadow government. And if that's discovered, she was the talking head pushing this stuff to us.
Oh yeah, cheap fakes. They're all cheap fakes. No, Biden's perfect. She's cheap fakes all around. Yeah, she tried to pull that. The new words they came up with, cheap fakes, and there was greedflation, I believe it was. They tried to use Putinflation. Yep, they tried to pull all this on us, try to pull the wool over our noses. The fact is, she and Jake Tapper, two of the biggest liars and biggest perpetrators of the Joe Biden cognitive abilities cover-up, and two of the biggest and most horrible mouthpieces for this borderline communist government we had for those 4 years, are now making money off of it by saying, hey, we didn't do nothing. It was the other people.
Can I just make a note of this picture on the screen? Did you notice that whoever staged this video removed entire row of books from her head? Did you see this?
That is funny.
What is that about? Is it because she didn't want like the association of other books next to her face, or she just wanted a white backdrop? It's kind of a weird choice. Actually, I mean, she looks like she's in a closet anyway.
It makes sense. Well, it makes sense. Think about this. She probably has books she's proud of here, but they look at. I guess people can zoom in and see what books she's sitting in front of.
The rainbow-colored books.
Right. On the other hand, if this also could be a fake background, I wouldn't know at this point. I could fake any background. I'm not sitting here in front of an outhouse. I freely admit I have a green screen on. I just like the cool backgrounds. That's just me. But some of these, sometimes you remove the books like the Communist Manifesto and what was that? The other? Oh yeah, the little red book that she might have on her shelf. Oh, we can't have that on when I do my short.
Oh my goodness.
Or Jake Tapper's book.
Yeah, something's going on there. Well, what do we have here?
A couple of people had a field day on her. On the right side, Scott Jennings.
I agree with you. I don't think she will, although I would argue that it's pretty disloyal to leave the political party that, gave you your biggest career shot that you've ever had. But I tend to agree with you. I mean, I think the things we've learned in the last 2 years is that the two least credible sources of information in this world are the Gaza Health Ministry and Karine Jean-Pierre.
And that's about right, Scott. And he didn't stop there. He was really going off on her all over CNN.
I have a different view. I'd like to congratulate Democrats for ridding yourselves of this untalented mediocrity. I mean, this is the most self-aggrandizing liar that has ever held this job. The White House press secretary is a sacred position, and she stood up there for years and lied through her teeth to the American people.
My friend,
and
she's not the first.
She is the literal worst White House press secretary in my lifetime.
And the reason for that is because Nina Jankowicz wasn't hired as press secretary at that point. She was absolutely horrible. And keep in mind, we had to suffer through the Ditz twins during the Obama era. What was it, Marie Harf and Jen Psaki?
Oh my goodness. I don't like this. I don't like this. You're in such close proximity to the presidency. And then now you write a kiss and tell. It's just terrible optics for everybody involved. It's like, this is not what we do, you guys. Okay, write your book, but don't like start naming names and all that stuff. unless you think you're going to get prosecuted. And I think that is what she and her lawyers probably fear, is that if she didn't pivot now and become an independent to say, I found God and I'm moving away from the demons. Well, you know what? I think they would have gone after her. She was the first one to jump.
She's not really jumping. She's still or at least she's still a Democrat at heart. She's a far leftist at heart. Maybe she believes the Democrats aren't far enough to the left. Maybe she believes that David Hogg is annoying and she wanted to be out of there. The fact is, she left the party to call herself an independent and sell books. The reason why people are going to buy it is to see what she said she lied about over the time. And she's going to try to say, oh, I wasn't lying about that. They were all really cheap fakes, but yeah, they were making me do this. They made me do that. That's a possibility. Remember, that's the press secretary, and I do have to say, she had a difficult job. She had to be the mouthpiece for that diabolical organization known as the modern day chaos. The bad guys from Get Smart, the Biden administration, the Otto Penn deep state administration, and all the snot-nosed kids that were helping draft legislation while Jill Biden was doing day-to-day operations as directed by the upperlings, and they all told Kamala Harris just to go home because we don't need you. They all pulled Edith Wilson on them. But here you go, Angie. The right aren't the only ones blasting Karine Jean-Pierre. A very prominent sports-loving Democrat named Stephen A. Smith never holds back.
Yep,
love this. He didn't hold back on her.
You were not the White House press secretary when you showed up on ABC's The View a couple of months ago. You were talking major stuff then. You were not the White House press secretary. You were an American citizen who was not working in the White House. What the hell you go on the show for then? Bloviating about Joe Biden.
Bloviating.
And how he was alert, and he was spry, and he was a great commander-in-chief, and he was sharp, and all of this stuff. I don't have it clipped in front of me because I just saw the story. You're lucky I don't have time to pull it up.
Actually, she is lucky.
But I'm fully aware of the fact that you were not the White House press secretary when you were on The View spewing the same stuff you had spewed when you were the White House press secretary. So all bets are off.
And they are, but the fact is she was on The View. The View, she's not an idiot. I mean, yeah, she was an idiot when she was a press secretary. At least she played the part of one. But she's not an idiot when it comes to selling her book. She went on The View to promote herself, possibly even as a potential host of The View, because, heck, around that group, she is the Stephen Hawking compared to the, let's just say, mental midgets around that table normally. But the fact is, she knew that if that audience wanted to hear Joe Biden was sharp, that audience wanted to hear Joe Biden was cool as a cucumber. And now the audience, now the world wants to hear the Democrats did cover things up. She's going to distance herself from being part of it, but her and Tapper, again, I said it before, the two of the biggest perpetrators of this mess are the ones who are now trying to profit off of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think, are you going to buy her book?
No.
No?
No, I'm not going to buy her book. Maybe I'll borrow it and read it. I'm not going to pay money to watch that thing. Maybe I'll do the 99-cent Kindle thing. Not sure about that. But the Democrats are even torqued off about her. There's a lot of people saying she's disloyal. She's this. Look, I'm sure many of them haven't even read the book.
Yeah, they're afraid their names are going to pop up on it. That's what
they're discrediting her beforehand.
Of course, that's how it works. That's how it works because she's doing the tell-all. She's leaving the party. These were all Biden loyalists, remember, right?
Yes. This is all theater. She's not leaving the philosophy or the party. She's a modern day Democrat through and through. She'll always vote Democrat. It's the party she's loyal to. But the only other thing she's really more loyal to is the fact that she can make a good dime. She can host a show, and she'll be doing the circuit, doing some paid speakerships because of this book, where she doesn't really tell all. I'm sure she's not going to tell that much. Tamper has probably told more, but she's going to give people the impression she's telling all, and then I'm going to tell you this, I believe that people are going to be very disappointed about what's in that book.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've already heard that she's going to be naming names. She's had a lot of enemies working at the White House. Everyone was trying to backstab each other. So, she's probably going to go for it. And does she care? I agree with you. She's not an independent. Remember, prior to becoming the White House press secretary, she was with MoveOn.org. I don't think you could get any more left than MoveOn.org.
It was
But
Act
that's
Blue, but the same.
different, same, but different. Like her core is deep, deep, deep far left. So yeah, I mean, I think it was a combination of her lawyer and her book publisher and her publicist that made her walk away. Oh, walk away. Remember that? That's her campaign. Walk away.
I like the walk
It's
away campaign. Yeah, maybe she'll talk to my friends Cherie and Susan and all these good people at the walk away movement. I doubt it. She's not even coming near them. But our arms are open if she's willing to walk away. I'd like to hear what she has to say if she really is, but I don't believe her. Heck,
no.
I never believed a word out of that woman's mouth to begin with.
Yeah.
The only thing she
No.
said correctly was she was the first black lesbian to take her post, and that was about it. Everything else that came out was basically, and again, it's her job to lie. Speaking of liars with bad haircuts, well, let's do this. Big liars and a Stephen A. Smith haircut. We're going to combine the two with the as we end the show, and we'll also put ourselves in it. Now, as you know, we have started a horrible trend. Apparently, because we have a podcast, everybody else now thinks they can do a podcast because we set the standard that anybody can do a podcast. Well, enter Joy Reid, who is going to start her own podcast. I forget what the title was. It doesn't even matter to me. But she also continues to do the podcast circuit and blame everybody else aside from her own poor ratings for her firing. She was recently on some Mousy Chicks podcast. I don't even know what the heck it's
Oh
called.
my gosh.
She's with this mouse and yammering on about how
In her
how
living
tweets that
room.
got her fired.
I got to, NBC and I Twitter back in 2000. I think I joined in '08 or '09, and the bosses were horrified. And anytime I would tweet anything, I would get calls. I would get, please get
By the way, notice the Stephen A. Smith haircut.
off Twitter. We hate it. They don't like that it pulls their talent and their reporters out of their control, because now you're not running what you're tweeting through standards and practices. It's giving your personality directly to the audience, which they don't like because it's no longer managed and curated by them. And they don't want people breaking news. Then this weird thing happened where Twitter and social media borrowed most
And she's blaming basically her tweets and Twitter for her firing. It was low ratings. And by the way, MSNBC could not sustain the high-priced talent. I mean, the high-priced talking heads. I forgot I shouldn't be using that word talent.
Yeah,
Although,
look, again, you shouldn't be talking bad about your bosses after they fire you. I don't know. She doesn't know about longevity in this game, right? You graciously walk away, you disappear for a while, and maybe you'll resurrect like Megyn Kelly or anybody else who found a second life in this game, right? But she's burning those bridges.
Well, she does know a lot more about Trump and everybody else because she has a unique perspective that you and I don't have. She knows about Trump and she knows everything because she is a black woman.
I think that there's a difference for Trump in hearing the kinds of criticisms specifically out of a black woman. It bothers him in a way it doesn't bother him like anything else. He's got this sort of tick about race, and about, sort of criticism coming specifically from a black woman, because we've seen him lay out and dish out real, abuse against black women journalists.
No. I saw what he said to some of the black female journalists. He lashes out on them like he lashes out on a white male journalist. For all of that, I know Trump just dumps on people right and left, but he never discriminates. Trump does not discriminate when he dumps on reporters or dumps on somebody who criticizes him, because it's not about her being a black woman. It's about her criticism. These people think they can say pot shots at any politician, and it's fun to watch. I understand that's their job, but they have to understand these people can fire back as well. And she's one of those who just can't take it.
I think this is just how she lives her life. I mean, I don't think she'll ever get off her high horse. And that's, really sad really sad that you have to just depend on what you think other people think of you and then take shots at that. But, remember, Trump's from Queens, New York. I mean, I went to school in Queens, New York. I think 46 different languages were spoken in my kindergarten, right? It's like you can't get more melting pot than Queens, New York. And there's no way you graduate from Queens being a racist. You just can't. It's just they're just like it's all around you, right? That's your entire ecosystem. So I don't know what she's going on and on about, but you know what? If she thinks what she just said is going to help gain eyeballs for her new podcast, Chris, what are we not doing right then? Maybe we need to start doing that.
I believe it looks like you should look a little more mousy, like this woman here who's interviewing Joy Reid. I guess I have to cut my hair, and then you have to not wear sleeves.
I don't like
Ditch
it's
the
not
sleeves.
a,
I guess that's what you have to do.
yeah, I mean, I get it. You're starting out, you're starting in your living room, you're sitting on the floor.
Hey, I'm in my living room. I'm in my office actually.
mean,
I have a
like, a
green
little
screen,
effort
a
would
green
be
screen in the
good.
back. But make up a background.
How about just makeup at all? Like like anything.
I don't begrudge her for not wearing makeup. I don't think women should always have to wear makeup on screen. That's fine, but I think she's probably should look at her face. She's probably really upset that now Joy's getting that podcast. She's never going to come on mine again. She's not going to invite me on hers.
I don't know, man. You can't just build a podcast. Look what Michelle Obama did. Like no one watched it, right? So it's like you can't just be Joe Rogan overnight, but these girls want it because they think that's how Republicans won. Like they can't understand that they lost based on their policies. Oh, it's got to be the tools that they use. They had Joe Rogan. They had all these like
Right.
millennial podcasters. That's how they won. No.
Huh.
It's because we didn't like your policies. Nobody wanted to hear about which bathroom you want to use.
Exactly, and here and something else to consider here. Joy Reid did again accuse Trump of being racist. Like that's her one trick. She's been a one trick pony forever. The other guys are racist, and they're all demons for being such. And that's it. She'll just find race in everything.
Yeah.
Well, again, with Trump jumping on reporters, regardless of their race, their color, their creed, and everything else, their orientations. Think about this. I believe there are two kinds of racists. One is that jerk racist that you see that shows it off and wearing the Klan costume and saying, "Oh, you people go back to Africa." They're horrible people. But then there's the other ones, the ones that are even worse, in my opinion, the bless your heart racists, the one that always think that they have to save black people or brown people, and the ones they always have to speak for them and tell you how they're thinking because they know best. And everybody else needs a leg up or shouldn't be criticized because the same people who are telling you that you're racist actually think less of them because they think, oh no, they can't handle such criticism. That's a huge race. That's the hidden racist in these people, and that's what bothers
Yeah.
me too.
The self-righteous ones, the one
Uh,
with the elite college degrees.
well, yeah, yeah. What gender studies and activist appreciation or something like that. Anyway, it is time to haul off, and
Yes.
we enjoyed this cool week in review. And we want to thank you for being with us here on Prime Roast. I would like to roast something right now, so gonna do that. I'm gonna try.
Oh yeah, like a big steak. Leg of lamb.
Like I never liked lamb, but I guess
Oh, you should try it. It's good.
yeah, maybe I'll give it another shot. I don't know. What about what about the greatest dish ever created by the greatest chef in television history? Private
Who's
S. Baldrick in the Blackadder the Fourth, or Blackadder Goes Forth, created a dish called rat au van.
That's all you, man.
Rat has been run over by a van.
Da-dum bump.
Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you in a week. I'm sure there's a lot more to roast. All right, Elon, behave. Talk to you soon.